What was Uhuru like?
We were just kids.
Yeah,
was he like a normal kid? Because now the dad was
Everybody
the first
was very
president?
normal.
Exactly.
But the dad was the president.
But everybody was very normal. We were kids. We didn't care about those things.
But you guys knew he was Kenyatta's kid.
But we didn't care.
Oh, but you didn't care.
I don't know how to put it. We didn't care. We were just kids.
You were just
and we
kids, yeah.
visited each other's homes. We used to go even to the State House.
Wow.
Even as teenagers, we used to go and steal. I remember one time we stole. I went with Mo. Anyway, let me tell this story.
Say it.
So, when you're a young teenager, you have this thing about motorbikes.
Yeah.
There's this craving to have mobility. Rainbow was born where?
Here at Norfolk?
Yes.
That's crazy.
In fact, we sat up there. 4 of us. Saitoti, Raila, myself, and Kamodo. Pale.
Who was the fourth person?
That is Kamodo.
Kamotho, yeah.
And then Raila and
Charity.
no, Raila and Kamodo had the presser. And I walked out with George. And George just said, follow my steps. Read my lips. Watch my steps. Okay? That was where they announced.
The Rainbow Alliance.
Rainbow Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh, we're children.
So we were.
This is
we are such
significant.
babies.
We are here for a reason.
I read, really? So
As we're complaining, now we can talk. You don't know how far we've come. An MP could not address Wananchi even in a Barasa without a letter from the chief or the OCS. No, nakwambia. Address his own people. So if you are anti the system, you never got that letter. And you tried to address, you were arrested and charged.
because it was illegal now.
Yeah.
You and I, we were sitting here like this, tungechukuliwa mapema sana. In our house, you have a party of more than 5 people and you have no letter from the police station. I'm a chief. Unabebwa. Night meeting. Hiyo inaitwa night meeting. Unafanya nini?
That's how insecure
It was called Public Order Act.
A chicken once survived for 18 months without its head.
Seeing its head.
Without its head.
That's
survived
a
for 18
lie.
months without its head.
That's
That
true. I've
is
read
an
the story. It's true.
absolute
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah.
What do
18
you
months.
mean?
I know.
Yeah.
18 months?
Yep.
You see, like when a chicken is beheaded and it runs around for a few minutes.
That's like
and
20 minutes or so
then,
max.
20.
It's the closest species to the dinosaur,
Yeah.
the chicken.
Not the lizard.
No, the chicken.
Because of how it looks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How so?
Allah? Read.
After here, I have so many things to read.
Over 26. This is
The Bagger Podcast.
This is the Brunch Club. Over 26.
Welcome back to
The mics are closed.
Now, when you watch it, you'll understand.
What up? My name is Chaxy, the mastermind, your main guy, the Lord Chaxy, the beautiful Mariah is around, the amazing Mwass is around,
What's
the whole gang is around. Episode 222, we are
My chick.
And it goes without saying, JIMMY WANJIGI is in the building.
Episode 222.
Yes.
Episode 222. Very interesting.
Right?
That is 6.
You believe in angel numbers?
Yeah, kabisa.
Really?
So tell me about the 6th number.
The 6th number?
Yeah.
6th number in completion.
No.
The 7.
I think is 6 the number of family,
Actually,
home, something like that.
It depends because on the 7th day is when God rested.
Yes.
So in 6 days, alimaliza kazi.
And today is what?
Today is on...
Today's 14th.
14.
14th.
So today's 5.
No, but what else is it?
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
on
Which
Saturday.
is the 6th?
Day of the week. Okay.
Okay.
Shike.
Okay.
Shike's house.
Umealign
Go and
chapters.
read a bit more. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the number of success?
Yeah.
What is the number of success? I am.
Oish, what's your number?
So you got to define my number.
07.
Please. What's your number?
You need to define my number.
Is it
figure out
44?
what my number is? No.
Is it
it's not
44 with I go 14?
Is it
With I
8?
go
No, 44 is 8. It's endless.
It's 8.
Infinity.
Infinity.
I got you.
Interesting.
I have a game here. We play a game before we begin. So it's true or false. So I'll read statements and all of us have to decide whether they're true or false. Well, except me because I know. So the first one. Kenya has won the most rugby 7 series titles in Africa.
True.
True.
That's true as well.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, you got it. Yeah, true. In Switzerland, it's illegal to win. You'll go last because I know you've lived there. We'll start with this. Yeah, it's illegal to own just one guinea pig because they get lonely.
I think that's false.
True.
That's false?
that's false.
Sounds true.
Sounds true. Jimmy?
False.
It's true.
You got it right.
And then
But you know, Switzerland is that society. It's all about fairness. Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah, it's about humanity and fairness. Across the board.
But because they get lonely, I like that.
Even today, on our earlier episode, we found out that cows get lonely as well.
Did you know that cows have best friends? Lastly, a chicken wants...
They're social beings
Cows?
in the animal kingdom. Yeah.
Lakini ukiambia wewe ni ng'ombe.
Ng'ombe
In Swahili, wewe ni ng'ombe means something else. Lastly, a chicken once survived for 18 months without its head.
Seeing its head.
Without its head.
That's
survived
a
for
lie.
18 months without its head.
That's
That
true.
is
I've
an
read the story. It's true.
absolute lie.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's actually true. Yeah.
What do
18
you
months.
mean?
I know.
18 months?
Yep.
You see, like when a chicken is beheaded and it runs around for a few minutes.
That's like
and
20 minutes or so
then,
max.
20.
You know,
It could be
it's
less.
the closest species to the dinosaur,
Yeah.
the chicken.
Not the lizard.
No, the chicken.
Because of how it looks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How so?
Allah? Read.
After here, I have so many things to read. Anyway, Jimmy, a pleasure speaking to you. Finally having you here.
Likewise.
It's been I think we've tried to set up this for a long
Forever.
time.
But I was told you guys don't take politicians. You don't want people coming here
You know,
discussing siasa.
When I was told
Wana
that,
siasa amutaki siasa
Who
kwa
told
issue.
you that?
I was told that a long time ago.
Maybe it was misconstrued.
Yeah.
Because what we said was we don't like people using the platform to sanitize their things. Like when
Yes.
it's hot, uko nje ati wacha nikuje
For
niongee hapo.
podcast news.
and
Yeah.
then ordinarily when we look for you and when we have things to discuss, you don't want to come. I think that's what we said. Because tulisema hivyo, even Funa's team reached out wakasema, ai, ni nani hao wanataka kuja, and he came. We had a really good conversation. So we speak to everyone. Yeah. Ukwaje?
Tuko salama kabisa. Salama salamini. Kwa hii dunia ya Zakayo.
You know. And
Ama naitwa Kasongo siku hizi.
Zote.
Jina gani?
yeah. Have you seen the silhouettes? The black silhouettes? The silhouettes.
Nzuri sana hizo.
Do you have a favorite one?
Sorry?
Do you have a favorite one? The silhouettes.
I like all of them, by the way.
Yeah.
Equally.
I love all of them. Yeah, very creative young man.
Right?
Nasikia ni
We need to
kijana.
find out who it
Yeah.
is.
You don't know who he is?
We don't know.
Nobody
We
knows.
don't know. We just wake up and find it on the internet.
Bring him on the show. Jamaa huyo.
Hatutaki afuatwe.
Kimpata.
Shujaa huyo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real hero.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. But I wanna take you back. Because you were born in 62, which is around the same time Kenya got independence.
Yes, that's correct.
So growing up, what was the mood of the country? Was it hopeful now that the white man had left? What was the mood of the country growing up in the 60s?
Well, you know, they always say that you cannot remember a lot of what happened when you were very young. In other words, under the age of 10 and so on. But what we do know, ni ya kwamba the country had an energy that was been unmatched. If we were to take the stories of our fathers, because they were in the forefront, hata kwa serikali hiyo ya Kenyatta walikuwa hapo.
Yeah.
They were so excited about building a nation for the black people of Kenya.
Okay.
So excited. Okay? And their dedication ilikuwa tu ya wananchi. Hii mambo ya ukumbavu tutaitoa. Mambo ya hawana afya tutaitoa. Rudi mashambani was a word that was said by everybody. In other words, go and produce. Okay? Go and produce. The country was in top gear, top notch. Now, just to give you some indications, unajua growth rate had headed towards even almost 10% wakati huo, 60s and early 70s. Growth rate ya nchi, GDP. Shilingi kwa dola ilikuwa 7.
Wow.
7. Just to show you vile uchumi ilikuwa. We were ahead of South Korea,
Singapore.
Malaysia, wakati huo. This place was buoyant. Opportunities zilikuwa nyingi sana. You never costed anything. Anywhere you turned. You know, we were a population that had found a land of plenty. Right? Now opportunities were being opened kila mahali. Hata ardhi, those who never got titles kwa sababu mzungu alichukua ardhi yao, wakapata title deed. This was a country that was the so-called image huku duniani. We were the envy of many. We don't know what happened to yangu.
We'll find out. Chronologically. So at this time,
yani ati unaamuka unafikiria ati utakosa chakula. No. That was not anywhere.
So even the Rudi Mashambani, was that like a positive statement?
It was a very positive statement. Yeah. A statement that went down to go back to production. We have fought for this land. Let us be able to feed ourselves first before we can do anything else. Right? And we are going to rely on that. And Jomo Kenyatta, if there's one thing that he did, hii mambo ya kurudi mashambani, he was fantastic. You know, you're seeing hii shida ya Lamu, for example, these days. Wanasema kuna Wakikuyu wengi huku Lamu. Jomo Kenyatta went there and said, maji iko hapa. And the river comes out outside. Akasema, this is the bread basket. Yeah, the whole coastline. We have got to make sure that it is harnessed. Wenyeji huko akasema, Jomo, si utupatie tingatinga. Akasema tingatinga. Ninunue tingatinga kutoka wabeberu hata nimuletee hapa. Akasema hiyo tingatinga nitaleta hapa. That's when he had the settlement ya Kikuyu kwenda huko.
Okay.
Hiyo ndio ilikuwa tingatinga.
Because you know
that is the history ya hiyo kitu.
The Lamu one.
The Lamu one. The Lamu one that is an issue even today.
Yeah.
Tingatinga ya Jomo Kenyatta ilikuwa Kikuyu kwenda huko.
And
when they went, they are today, they feed all those hotels all the way down to Kwale.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I have family in Lamu. So my grandma comes from Embu, but my grandpa was Kuria. He used to work in committee. So I just found out when my...
He used to work in committee, he was a jailer.
Yeah, he was, unfortunately.
Alikuwa na mabusu.
Alikuwa
na tuanga sana.
I'm sure alikuwa anafanyisa vitu. Unfortunately. But sasa, so then I recently found out we have family in Lamu and they've been there for so many years. So ni part of the Kikuyus who were relocated to Lamu at the time. Yeah, so...
So Tinga was human labor.
Tinga became human labor to Jomo. And that's how the settlement scheme, I think it started with 5,000 Kikuyus who went down there eventually.
Yeah.
That has been the bread basket of all the vegetables, nini, the whole coastline, mpaka Kwale.
How was land being allocated?
Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
It was actually a land settlement scheme of the government. And then eventually people bought it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It was not given free. No. The incentive, ya kwamba, you're not paying for the land.
Use
right?
it. Yeah.
Use it.
Okay.
Yes. And produce your soko. For your soko.
So at this time, is your dad, the late Maina, already a member of parliament or is in the cabinet?
No. At that point, he was the director of settlement. All land settlement in Kenya. And you remember, land was a very big issue. It was the issue at independence. Because our independence was about two things. One, our political liberation. Two, our economic one. And the economic one was mchanga. Mbeberu lazima toke kwa hii mchanga. So he was the director of settlement of land. So he was allocating land all over the country.
Okay.
His most famous one is Laikipia. Because you got to imagine that the whole of the Mount Kenya community were removed from their land. Unajua hivyo?
Sikuwa najua.
Independence.
Wote. All of them.
Wote were disenfranchised of their land. And a population of almost about 1 million were detained by the Mzungus in detention camps kama zile za Hitler. All right? So they were disenfranchised wakati wa Mau Mau. So settling them was a very big thing. The famous one is the 1 million acre scheme ambao is now holding in Laikipia.
Yeah.
So that's where he was.
Okay.
And then he joined politics after Tomboy was assassinated in 1969.
So you come from Oranga, same as Mwass.
Mwass comes from Oranga?
Yes. I was even there 2 days
I thought he
ago.
was there 2 times.
We call ourselves Motown.
Which I've just found out right now.
And sasa mimi...
No, niambie. No. What are you saying?
Motown?
Do you know Motown's in music?
Yes. You know Motown from
Do you know
music.
Gatanga? Gatanga has got the best Kikuyu singers in the entire
Yeah, that's
Kikuyu
true.
land.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's true.
Even people like Kamaro, have you heard of Kamaro?
Yes.
Yeah.
They come from there. All these Kikuyu singers, most of them wanatoka Gatanga. We are called
And
Motown.
Gatanga is-
We're the place of music.
And Gatanga is in Murang'a?
Yeah.
It's in Moranga.
Ah, okay. So,
It's in Motown.
because I'm looking for a girl from Murang'a. So, hiyo tu ndio imekuwa.
Wasichana wazuri sana. Utajenga boma bwana.
Say less.
That is a homemaker.
Done.
Na utaibiwa kidogo.
Nakwambia kweli. You kweli.
Again, see, I can't argue with that.
If he told me Kabete, I'll tell him,
Huko ni kunoma.
hapo ngojea kidogo.
Murang'a ni-
Lakini Murang'a, tick,
Sure,
tick,
babe.
tick.
Done.
All ticks.
Okay.
Yes.
So I want to know, how actively was Murang'a as a town in the struggle for independence?
Very active.
Okay.
In the struggle for independence.
Lakini umeishi.
What
Jimmy
is-
ukazaliwa yani ukaishi 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s.
Wasema nimezeeka.
Sasa umezeeka.
Inaonekana nimezeeka.
Umeishi tu.
Anasema uko na life experience. Yeah, about 70 years.
Not yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
heading
I'm
towards.
still early. I'm 62 now. I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still
How
bado
young?
kidogo.
How young is
Bado
your heart?
kidogo. Very young. Very young. Very young. My spirit is young.
Your spirit.
Okay.
My spirit is young.
Yeah.
Now, how critical was Murang'a
Yes, in the struggle.
for independence?
Yes.
Murang'a was the center. You know, all Kikuyus came from Murang'a. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
All Kikuyus, if you look at Historia yetu, we come from Murang'a. And then we migrated. And the migration is this way. There are those who went towards the mountain. Right? And we even say Meru is an extension of the same.
Yeah.
So there are those who went that way. The new territory was the one of Kambu, which was Maasai territory.
Okay.
That one was fought for. But it was not that big a fight because that's where people who were so-called, who did the worst of crimes in Murang'a were sent off or ran away to.
Yeah.
For example, the worst, Maria.
How does that sound? Iko sawa? Okay. Sound
worst-
engineer akisema iko sawa.
The worst crime was murder, as it is today. So murder was punished this way. If you committed and you were found with the first murder, your family had to compensate financially
To
the other family. If you did it twice, your clan had to compensate the other. All right? In other words, it was a very big cost. If you did it a third time, your clan was responsible in killing you. So when you came to a third time, many used to run away. So you know there, walikuwa najua, utapatikana. So they would run away. If you run away towards Nyeri, Laikipia, those sides, this is where the system of who are you if you came as a stranger?
Yeah.
What is your muherega? Where do you come from? What are your lineages? That's where the story comes. That's why Kikuyus always ask, who are
When
you?
you are happy.
When you are happy, just to get your lineage. They knew they would be found.
Yeah.
All right? So, the only place to run away was upande huu Masai, Kambu.
Kiambu side now.
And everyone thought that when they got there, Masais have killed them, wameisha. That is the birthplace of Kambu for Kikuyus.
So,
Very
So the
much.
original
Ni kama historia ya Australia. Sijui kama unaijua.
Utaniambia nisome tena.
unanunua vitabu ngapi?
Australia was a conquered territory, the British.
Yes.
And it had vast land, a lot of resources. But nobody wanted to go that way. So they got all the prisoners out of their prisons. Yes, and their families. And relocated them to Australia. That is the birth of Australia.
That's insane.
No, Maria, you didn't know.
Yeah. I shouldn't know, but me, I knew that. So the
Musome
original.
zaidi.
No, we have to.
So the original.
Historia is important. It is who we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So the independence struggle
Yeah.
was very critical in Murang'a. You know how it began? The Mau Mau struggle was 7 people who sat in Dagoretti corner after the Burma War. Okay? And after the Burma War is when they realized Amuzungu hata yeye anaweza kufa kama Mwafrika. Ukipiga yeye risasi damu yake
It's the same as
It's
mine.
the same as mine. You know, those days there was no internet, there were no books. As we are just seen a white man who came here with a gun. So, Bama exposed everybody. We can kill these guys. Na ujue ya kwamba ndugu yangu, out of the territory of 500 million people the British Empire had conquered, ni hapa tu Kenya, there was a war for independence. In the territory of 500 million people. Ujue wa Kenya si wa, msichezee wa Kenya. Anybody who is thinking you can lead this country and play with it, don't joke with Kenyans. There is something we have got in us. Kwa damu yetu. So the 7 people anchored themselves, right? On the basis that they have to fight in the forest. If you look at Aberdare, it is the bottom part of Oranga, the northern part. And that's where they started, there towards Mount Kenya. So Fort Hall, it was called Fort Hall at the time, became the biggest logistics center for Mau Mau. Logistics in terms of recruitment and food, all right? And weaponry. Fort Hall.
Okay.
That is the history.
So that means the Kikuyus who formed Kiambu. Now all of them are just gangsters. Just murderers.
Those are your
Kiambu
words.
Mafia is
Kiambu Mafia started
Kiambu
in
Mafia.
Kitambo.
It's a real
an actual
thing.
mafia.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually ask somebody from Kiambu, they cannot tell you 2-3 generations. They get lost.
They get,
They get lost.
Okay.
So they get lost. They get very lost.
Okay.
You come to somebody from somewhere else, they tell you, you know, I know my great-great-grandfather. Alikuwa hapa, alifanya hii. Kiambu, they get lost.
2-3
They get,
generations.
somewhere they fall short.
They're like, okay, after Appa.
Okay, I don't know what happened.
And they can't quite tell you how they came to be.
Okay.
How they came to that particular land. If he says from Limuru, he can't tell you how. How, whether their great-grandfather lived in that land.
Gotcha.
He'll tell you it didn't happen.
And what was happening in Kiambu at that time? Was it developed? Or they just
No,
barren
it was
land?
Maasai country, like Nairobi. This was all Maasai country.
So as an outlaw, you just land and unaanza
You start
kuchimba.
And Maasais were known to be extremely vicious. They had no issue with Kikuyus.
Yeah.
In fact, the only time they ever entered Kikuyu land was to come and take our women. No, Maria, it's true.
Walikuwa naongea.
No, see,
how would they communicate?
It is not just now that
that
they
is a
knew that
thing.
there's good women. Hata wakati
They've
huo
been
walikuwa
knowing, truly.
But to be sincere, it's just that they were near.
Yeah.
All right? And they had even, they used to raid all the way up to even Nyeri. All right? And the problem was, they had a problem with their women in terms of barrenness. Diseases like rinderpest and all this had so infected their women, so they were not procreating. They were not giving birth. So they needed to find women. And that's where they used to raid. So you find a lot of Maasais will tell you, Najua mamangu, she comes from sijui where in Kikuyuni. It's so intertwined for generations. Yeah. It was simply that.
Okay.
Simply
Very
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
So
Like, you know, I keep saying, people don't know history of Kenya, and they should know.
tulifundishwa
Kwanza
different-
Wakikuyu, for example, wanafikiria wao ndio wanajua pesa. Yes. No, it's true.
Because that's what we've been conditioned to believe.
Lakini, have you ever asked a Kikuyu where he learned about money as a medium of exchange? Because the money, the medium of exchange was always barter trade. Where did we learn about cash? Njalu. I know you can't believe it.
walikuwa na pesa.
Where did they learn it from? Where did they learn it from? Where did they get that cash from? They were the biggest potters. See, they were taken by Mzungu to port in Mombasa.
Yeah.
And that's where they got interacted with Waswahili, Warabu, Nanini. And the medium of exchange were coins.
Yeah.
Right? That came from Zanzibar, the Sultan. He had introduced that as a medium of exchange. So the first exchanges for millet from Kikuyus, for the gods that the Luas used to make, right, was cash. That's when a Kikuyu learned cash. Exchanging, buying millet
For cash
or
instead
buying
of
a
barter
god.
trade, yeah.
From that's when they understood it.
Okay.
Yes. So pesa hii ambayo nini tulipata is Wajaluo ambao walitufundisha.
Okay.
Yes.
Then mkafurahi.
And then you never looked back.
So
I even forgot we had a gift for you. Yeah.
That's very kind of you.
So you can carry home. At least utakumbuka I was at mic check.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
This is very kind of you.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
There's a bunch of things there. Then, so I want to talk about St. Mary's. So you were in school at the same time with Uhuru Kenyatta and
Yes.
Gideon Moi.
Yes.
Were you guys friends?
Who
else was there?
Very good friends. You know, St. Mary's, we went in primary school. And it was at the time, the school we used to say, ambao ilikuwa na watoto ya wadosi.
Of course.
Okay?
Yeah. Hata saa hizi.
Prominent.
Hata saa hizi,
Bado, yeah.
No, it's not the same.
Debatable, but
It's not
then
the same.
it was
changed.
something else.
And because we were the baby boomers, you can imagine this was when our classes, I mean, it's either my class or a class ahead and one class below, that you had the baby boomers. All right?
Okay.
So yes, Uhuru Kenyatta, I was in class with his brother Mo
Okay.
from primary school. We had the Kibakis there. We had the Mboyas there. We had the first African speaker called Mate. We had Awings Kodek.
Ooh, as well.
We had, everybody that had a name was in that school.
Was there anyone who just had a regular son?
Yeah. but it was not easy to get into.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How thorough was
Because
the...
it was extremely restrictive in terms of numbers at the time. It was run by the Holy Ghost Fathers, we used to call them, out of Ireland. And they wanted a particular breed. They were trying to be a school of excellence.
Okay.
So they were very particular. But because Siasa was so big at the time, you couldn't resist somebody, anyone who had any major political influence. You would not refuse their children.
Yeah.
But it was not easy to get through. And at the time, it was considered very expensive. I'll tell you, by the time I left high school, those days were to Form 6, I remember we were paying high school per term was 2,500 shillings, and it was considered very expensive. No, it was considered very expensive.
But it's 2,500 in
No,
the
but back in the
70s.
day, that's very
It was very
expensive.
Land in Karen was 3K.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, it was considered very expensive.
Wow.
Yes.
If we adjust for inflation, how much do you think that would be?
Right
In
now.
today's terms, maybe 250 or so.
Okay.
Still would
Or
be
even more.
Still,
Yeah.
still
Maybe 250.
costly.
Yeah.
Still, yes. And I'm sure they will have adjusted tremendously by then. Because
Yeah.
these days now, private school is very expensive.
Yeah, definitely. But
That is wild.
the guys who were
You're
there,
rubbing shoulders with is insane.
Yeah, I'm like, so what
But
was
we didn't think about it.
that way? Yeah. What was Uhuru like?
We were just kids.
Yeah,
Was he like a
truly.
normal kid? Because now the dad was
Everybody
the
was
first
very
president.
President,
normal.
exactly.
But the dad was the president.
But everybody was very normal. We
Yeah.
were kids. We didn't care about those things.
But you guys knew he was Kenyatta's kid.
But we didn't care.
Oh, but you didn't care.
I don't know how to put it. We didn't care. We
Yeah.
were just kids.
We were just
and we
kids, yeah.
visited each other's homes. We used to go even to the State House.
Wow.
Even as teenagers, we used to go and steal. I remember one time we stole. I went with Mo. Anyway, let me tell this story.
Say it.
So, when you're a young teenager, you have this thing about motorbikes.
Yeah.
There's this craving to have mobility. So we decided that because our parents don't want us to have motorbikes, they're considered very dangerous. That we would go to State House and take the piki-pikis, the ones that are used for messengers. Okay? So we'd go every so often and ride them in the afternoons before now we have to break off.
Yeah.
Okay? So we went. And we picked two and we started riding. And we started riding towards the Roses. There were some very nice grounds. Okay? Because Uhuru and I used to stay in a house very near. In fact, it's a house that he eventually took over that looked like his residence when he was president. So we rode and rode and rode and rode. And then we got to a part where Mo just says, "Oh my God, Dad is here." So we saw the flag, the presidential standard. Because normally he used to go every day to Gatundu.
Every day.
Every day.
From Nairobi.
He didn't sleep. He used to
Oh,
say
he
he
used
cannot
to
sleep.
live there?
He used to live there. He used to say if you sleep in State House, that is a place of the white ghosts. So
Oh
you never
my
sleep
gosh.
there. So he would drive 2
Down
o'clock,
to
3 o'clock,
Gatundu.
he would go to Gatundu. Okay? So this was about 3-4, and the standard was, then he said, oh God, he's here. So he now started trying to help her. And then we saw a man looking at us, okay, from the office. And it was him. He was outside on the party.
It was Mzee.
It was Mzee himself. So they said, and he was looking. We were quite a distance, but he was looking. So I said, he can't see us. He said, no, he has seen us. Okay? He has seen us. Now, Jimmy, if I go by myself, I'm in trouble. So let's go and greet him. Let's go and greet him, right? He'll be very excited to see you. So there'll be no punishment, right? So sure enough, we went. We sat down, insisted we have tea. He asked us why we were spoiling his roses. We said, we are young. And he laughed. He laughed.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one incident. He was very kind about it. One thing that got me was his minister of state called Bio Koinange. Bio Koinange was like Jomo's right hand. So Bio Koinange comes to greet him. And he bows like 3 or 4 times before he reaches where Mzee and us are sitting. When he eventually bows, he talks to Mzee, and he's introduced, and he laughs. He greets us very well. Then he's passing a message to Mzee, and then Mzee says, okay, you leave me with my children. So he politely walks away. What took me was that he didn't turn and walk away. He walked away.
No,
don't show Jomo your back. Yeah.
Why?
But he's the king. You don't show him your back. And I was wondering when he's going to hit something. Because I watched this, and it was one of the most amazing things that I'd ever seen. Yakwamba, you cannot show
your back.
So now you started thinking about how you leave the room as well.
He grabbed us like this, and we took him to the car. He took off to Gatondo, and us we went home.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Bless
So,
you.
So these were the interactions. We did not think much about who anybody was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
They came in a very humble manner. They came with a police driver. Right? They didn't have all these bodyguards that you see today, people
Nowadays,
having all these things. And they lived a very humble life. Yes.
Okay.
So we didn't feel it, ndugu yangu.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, just kids.
It's now in high school when you had incidences that made national headlines, like JM Kariuki dying.
Yeah, okay.
And that becomes debate all over. And, then you start seeing some tension.
Yeah.
You see?
Then I start to notice these things now.
Yeah, then you notice, this game, people are being killed here. And then you become politically aware.
Yeah.
Yeah? Like, what are these forces?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because we also knew GM's kids.
Yes.
You see?
So when the dad is assassinated,
so you're all very present in particular discussions.
Yeah. Okay.
At that point, the history you're learning in school, has it been whitewashed already? Because you're aware of all these things.
Right now?
No, back in high school, like the history that you learned.
The tragedy of our school curriculum is that it was set by the Mzungu, and we did not change it enough. There are many people who, if you read some of the history that was being taught in school, they thought Mama was a criminal outfit.
Yeah.
Right? The teachings. We learned more British history than Kenyan history. These are the curriculums. It was tragic, and still is even today. A lot of people do not know their history. They don't know how we are so intertwined as a nation. It's really very, very sad. Nobody tells you that who named you a Luo or a Kikuyu or a Kalenjin. We didn't name ourselves.
For sure.
Somebody did.
Somebody did. Who named this country Kenya? We didn't do it ourselves. We didn't. Somebody did. Somebody called us Nilotes and Bantu and Kushites. How was that to our benefit?
Yeah.
It was their way. Unajua, I have a shamba. When you have a shamba, one of the things you learn is that if you are going to manage your shamba, you need to have it in blocks, right? Separate blocks, so that you know what's going on in this place, concentrate this place, concentrate. That's what it was. Divide so that you could manage it. Who did this?
The Mzungu.
Right.
Yeah.
That is not taught. That is not taught. And the saddest thing, ni ya kwamba Mzungu took away who we were because we were very rich in our culture, in our being. We had everything. Right? If you read some of the history, you realize we were making iron ore in this country before the Mzungu came. How did Maasai have spears?
True.
They had them before the Mzungu came. And they were iron spears. So we had iron ore. We had our own industry. We had clothing, by the way, not skin. So we used to take the insides of skin and make clothing. Did you know that? It was our cloth. Yes. We had education, which we taught in poetry to our kids.
Yeah,
we had an initiation exercise into adulthood. Okay? So that you know your strata of life. And then marriage, and then eldership, warriorship. You see? We had it. And we had God.
True.
We had God. But the Mzungu came and gave us our nice clothing these days. Gave us our language, gave us our names. Lakini I'm seeing hata nyinyi mmeresist hiyo maneno.
Hatutaki hiyo mambo. Yeah.
Wakati wetu, unfortunately, because it was the advent of independence.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was to be the Mzungu. Okay? Because the Mzungu had brought a perception that our forefathers believed was civilization to us.
Yeah.
So you should speak like them. Because that's how you will conquer them.
Yeah.
That's how you'll understand them. Know what they know. You see? So forget your past, where you are from.
Yeah.
Lakini kizungu yao, lazima muizungumze kama wao. Okay?
Yeah.
Read their history. Read their lives. So you understand who they are.
Yeah.
After all, they have this great civilization, right? Which can only but help a country. Right? And that was the ethos at the time. Now we are going through a whole metamorphosis. About 60 years later, we want to know who we are.
True.
We want to be Kenyans. And we cannot define what that means.
Yeah.
Sorry, nazungumza sana.
No, it's okay.
No, please.
So in 92, because now I think you're involved in Kenneth Matiba's now campaigns, but also this is the time when Youth for KANU is very active.
Yeah.
And so did you know Akina Ruto at this time?
No.
Youth for KANU, no?
No. Those are people we saw as little criminals.
From 92.
Oh, yeah.
From 92.
Those are just criminals driving around with money in their boots. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Stolen money. Yeah. Kina Jirongo used to have money in their boots. They would come here, M-PESA, chungu nzima. And I want you to imagine, those days we did not have 1,000 shilling note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Right?
5 and
The
10s.
maximum was 500. I think it was a new introduction. It was 100. So you can imagine 1,000,000 shillings in 100 notes.
So what
Okay.
what essentially
so
would
we
they
were
do?
saying criminals.
That's the thing.
We were
So
just
what are
saying
their
criminals.
jobs? Yeah.
Why K92? We said those are just criminals.
So what are their job day to day? Like what would they do?
All their job was to try and create a youth, right, that was going to vote for Moi.
Okay.
So basically,
But it was not genuine.
movement.
It was just to try and create this myth that there is actually youth that have decided they want to hang on to Moi. But those were numbers they intended to pad, right, at the ballot.
Interesting.
Okay? And they were disruptors, complete disruptors, because they were now spending money that nobody had ever seen. Hata wewe ndugu yangu, if you met one of those YK92 fellows and you were in a club, kuone umetongoza msichana mzuri. You would not laugh to that.
Finished.
No. By the time she's going to the toilet, somebody's talking to her. Leave that guy, bwana, I'll give you 20,000-30,000.
At the time.
By the time she comes
Finished.
back from the toilet.
Ni kuchukua
Vita.
bag.
No, vita. Nakuendea vita.
Hakuwa na mademu
They were
YK92. Wao wangenikatia nikiingia box.
Shida. They were complete disruptors.
Okay.
But we knew them as criminals.
And you knew them by their names. You knew who they were. Okay.
They were very public in their appearances. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because also if you're flamboyant like that, people would know you for
In
sure.
those days, also.
Yeah, even in those days.
Nobody had seen anything like that, Maria. Nobody.
So where had they learned this? This money thing and people, where had they learned this?
What happened? Moi could see his end. And Moi was facing an economic crisis of foreign exchange. So he brought in a fellow called Kamlesh Pattni.
Oh, the source of our problems.
He brought a man called Kamlesh Pattni who told him, hii mambo ya foreign exchange, kuna waindi wengi ambao pesa yao iko kwa mattress. They are trading, but they are not on the official exchange. We need to find a way of mopping it up. There is something called export compensation for particular goods that goes up to 15%. Right? You give me another 15 to 20%, 25% to 20% on top. And we call it gold exports, for gold exports. Na nakwambia, I'll get that foreign exchange from these people. I'll have enough cash to mop up. Okay? And you'll not have an official foreign exchange problem, right? And you'll have money for campaign.
And at this time, Kamlesh is like
This
in his
is now
20s.
19, yes, Kamlesh is in his 20s. This was now the 92 election. This was the advent of multipartism, 1990 or so, 89, 90. So, he said, this guy seems to make sense. It's fake, yes, because you're actually printing money.
Literally.
Right? Giving this guy cash. And but, maybe he has a point. Maybe he might find this gold and money. He said that he was a gold jeweler. He was a jeweler. So he said that Mwindis have got a lot of gold, and you grab it. And there's a lot of smuggled gold coming in from Congo. You grab it, and you'll export it. Now, that scheme was just fake. But that's where the illusion of creating money out of doing nothing came in like never before. Right? So Kamlesh would say he has exported gold. Right? And you present receipts to the treasury showing customs has stamped original customs entry, kila kitu, and he gets paid his 20%, 35. In fact, it was 35%. He gets paid 35%. Right? For nothing.
Same thing he's doing.
Those things were fake.
That's
Those terms were
crazy.
fake. No, they were fake. But he's exporting every day. Millions. Okay? Worth. And you get 35%. Now, you'd use that to go into the market and buy foreign exchange. All right? That was the whole basis. And then circulate it officially, eat his cut.
Yeah.
Right? With the powers that be.
Yeah.
But they got greedier and greedier. Right? It became, Moi was an expert at land.
Sorry to cut you short. So we have, I think he can hear all the noise from the other side.
The noise is
Oh, no. Lakini, why did they tell us? Where is...
Because the lady said they were not even going to sit here. Because it's been...
Wapi? No, just call Nini. Salim. Salim. Unajua, they told us they're not going, they're giving us a place without noise. Sasa hawa wanapiga kelele. Can you call this...
In a pic. That's fine.
Yeah, it changes, eh?
Okay.
It's okay. How's the day been?
Today? Is Zakayo still in power? Akiwa hapo, it's not a good day, my friend.
good day.
Sisi tunafurahia tukiona watu wanamtemea kabisa. When you wake up and watch TikTok, somebody saying how they are cussing him, I feel very good. Apate hiyo energy.
Yeah.
He does. He does.
At
But
the end of the day,
Analia.
si ako na emotions.
He does.
Isn't he crying about it?
The fact that he has other people trying to counter all these attacks every day on Twitter, it bothers him.
Hata hizo
And
vitu
you
za
saw-
those two cartoons.
You saw in Jamhuri start saying, until when are you going to oppose me?
Those you critics. I'm like, which critics? We are Kenyans.
Yes. Until he leaves.
No, he has to go.
Yes.
Honestly.
Mpaka tukaitwa pepo chafu.
Yeah,
That's
was
someone who's
funny.
hurt. That is someone who's hurt.
But
Very
hard.
Very hard.
Hey.
No, that energy. Unajua, when you're sitting in that chair, don't be fooled. You cannot become immune to it.
True.
Yeah, inakugonga.
Even if he doesn't have to show it. or
Anybody
anything.
who sits wants to be popular.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled. They want the accolades from Wananchi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives them energy.
Even paying people to fill up a stadium so you can go talk to
No,
them.
you don't feel good.
really.
You don't feel good with that because you know it's fake.
Yeah.
You're trying to give others an impression of yourself.
Yeah.
But you love that unaenda mahali and people respect
Really,
you.
yeah.
Love
Embrace
you.
you.
Yeah, they embrace you.
It's different. Yeah.
Yeah. The people like that thing. Yeah. I've been with all these leaders who sat on that chair. I can tell you that's one thing that they love. Hii energy nzuri ya kutoka wananchi. Yeah. I love it.
Like in Murang'a, they really love their governor.
Can continue? Thank you. Sorry, so you guys are rolling. Okay, cool.
Tulikuwa wapi?
Anyway, so tulikuwa, I think tulikuwa tunamaliza mambo ya Kamlesh.
Unanisikia vizuri?
Pattni.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, Kamlesh.
Yeah. Kora kabisa.
So Kamlesh introduced a new game. Makaratasi tu.
Fake stamps.
Fake.
Yeah.
Pesa hela inaingia. And in the billions. You know, we had never heard of a billion. Kama siku hizi mnazungumza, we talk about a trillion like it's nothing. Those days we had never heard of a billion. Hata 100 million kufikiria.
Kichwa inachoka.
Wewe ni mwizi or something. Okay?
Yeah.
100 million umepata kutoka na how?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
And all this money is
Now
cash.
this guy is talking about a billion.
It's like, what?
And the man had ideas.
Endless.
He then starts something called export financing. Yani if you're exporting fish, ama sijui kahawa, ama something, unapatiwa financing, raising your financing so that you can export. Another scheme to loot. And incorporated a bank called Trade Bank, Eurobank, was it called Eurobank, which went down? Eurobank, Trade Bank, and there was a third one. Yeah, his bank. It was called Exchange Bank.
Oh, you own a bank
scheme.
as well.
You own a bank called Exchange Bank.
When you have such money coming in,
Exchange
makes
Bank
sense.
ilikuwa yake.
Exchange Bank.
Exchange Bank. Oh.
Lakini the most notorious, let me tell you. So you realize how imaginative people are.
Yeah.
After the election of 92, we had a big problem here, inflation. There was too much of this fake money all over, printed money. So interest rates on a treasury bond had gone to 40%. Try and mop up. Because you go and purchase something, it was too expensive.
Yeah.
In fact, Moi, the government decided to issue papers so that they take cash from you. Yeah. They issued something called a certificate of deposit. So you go to the bank, instead of them giving you 1 million shillings cash, they give you a piece of paper, which says you have 1 million shillings. And that's what you used to carry. Yeah, because now, to carry 1 million shillings, no, it was too much. Right? So the bank gives you a certificate of deposit. 5 million unaweka tu hapa kwa.
Karatasi moja.
Okay? Na unaenda nayo. And you would exchange it.
You go to another
Give it to
bank,
somebody.
you give it.
No, another bank nini, unaenda unanunua gari with that paper. And you walk out.
And they take the
It
paper
was
to the
cash.
bank and cash their
It was
money.
cash. Yeah, but it was a way of mopping up because inflation was crazy. You had inflation here of 30-40%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
that's crazy.
Yeah,
And
it's
now we're
crazy.
talking about 7%. So,
Do you believe Ruto's figures?
but I'm saying
He's even saying,
comparison.
he's saying it's 3%. Okay, yeah. Those are their figures. Do wanasema ati bei ya unga imeshuka sijui nini. Yeah. So they decided, right, that now they must mop up cash. So Pattni goes and he tells the powers that be, including Moi, all I need is a way I can get some money. And I put in government bonds. And in 3 months to 1 year, at this 30-40%, see, we are going to eat good money. So if I can find a way of getting 10 billion from the treasury, right? Yeah, after 1 year, 40% is 4 billion. And I'm telling you, for kuzungumza mambo ya billion, it was, he's a trillion today.
Really.
Yeah. So they disguised a scheme with the central bank and the treasury, where they say, Pattni says, I have got $200 million in an account, Exchange Bank, in Citibank, London. Right? This is it. By the time it's transferred to me, I would have lost a lot of export financing for other people. So Treasury, advance me that money. Okay? Before this one comes and I pay you back. What? Yeah.
So this is golden bag.
No, this is another fraud.
What?
Okay? advance me that money, all right, in Kenya shillings.
So times 7.
Right? At the time, no, 7, no. Yeah. At that time, it was more than 7. That was the one that was equivalent to 13.5 billion shillings. If you ever saw Pattni's cases, there was one case that hung in, which was 13.5 billion shillings. That was the biggest one.
Wow.
13.5 billion. It was nothing to do with Golden Bank. He wrote to Central Bank as Exchange Bank. Kawambia, niko na pesa, hela, Citibank, London. Here is the statement. Okay? $200 million. Kindly advance me. I commit as the bank to make sure he Kija, I will
return.
Yeah.
I will return to you. So Central Bank advanced him 13.5. That 13.5, he put at 35% treasury bonds. Fanya hesabu. Okay? So after 6 months, Central Bank asked, wapi hiyo hela? Tunangojea hiyo hela. Tunangojea hiyo hela.
No one called London.
Right? Nobody called London.
Yeah.
So he said, no, it's coming. There's communication. It's coming. Certain difficulties, sijui nini inakuja. 1 year, nothing.
What?
Nothing. That is what Maliza Pattni. That is what took Kotu to court. That is what took Koinange to court. Because Koinange, as Treasury
Put his
TS,
signature
had to
there.
say, yes, advance him the money. Kotu was central bank governor. What happened? The intention was this. I take that 13.5, invest in 40%.
Yeah.
So if you take 10%, that is 1.3.
Yeah.
2.6 is 20. 2.6 times 2 is how much? Nani anajua hesabu?
52.
5.2.
5.2.
Yeah.
So on top of 13.5, they made 5.2, which takes you to 18? 18 or so, right?
Yes.
Aya. 18B, wakati huo. What happened is that when he wanted to return the money, people said, do you know how hard it is to get government money? Na wewe unarudisha bana. Are you mad? Achana na hiyo maneno. And they ate all of it.
So he was actually
when
going
Central
to
Bank,
return-
when
he was actually
Central
going to
Bank
return the money.
actually ended up having to investigate, Citibank said, we don't even know who Exchange Bank is. That statement was made on Grogan Road.
No.
Yeah. That was the case in court.
So you can give that amount of money without investigating. Then you investigate later.
No, but you see, who are the investigators? The same ones who
It's the
you're in
same people,
cahoots with.
truly.
Right?
True.
So here, PESA, this is what was floating around here. So you talk YK, you talk all these things. What do you think was floating around here?
And it's easy money to give away.
Yeah, I mean,
For political
if you
ambition.
didn't work
Blind
for
you.
it,
Yeah.
if you didn't work for it, you
If
can
somebody
It's
gave you
easy.
100,000 at the time, you thought you had gold.
Honestly.
A Mercedes was less than 1 million shillings.
Yeah.
Yes. You
now
thought you were the
talking
richest
billions.
person.
Yeah. So in the 90s, because I'm just thinking, your dad was at the forefront, like a politician. You were involved in Matiba. So
Yes.
at the 90s, why were you still like behind the scenes?
In the 90s, what happened? In the 90s was the advent of the second liberation.
After multipartism?
Yes. And my father was still an active politician. He was still an active politician. Okay? And as an active politician, you can't be both of you active.
Yeah.
And that was the rebellion against one-party rule. Okay? The most active politician at the time on one-party rule was Kenneth Matiba. Right? Him and Rubia had I think it was the new year of 1990. Oh, yes, 1990 or 91. Where they said, New Year's address, a press conference that was carried headline in the nation because KBC, was government control.
Yeah.
We didn't see it on TV. And it was a shocker to see the two of them say, we must remove 2A, which was in the constitution, that said there shall be only one political party, and that party is called KANU.
The name was stated in the constitution.
Yeah.
For avoidance of doubt.
Yeah. For the avoidance of doubt. An amendment that had been brought under the Moi regime by Jonjo. Okay? That had passed. Okay? Moi, by the way, amended the constitution, I think it was 116 times.
On his own.
Yeah.
Not through
To
parliament.
entrench tyranny.
Yeah.
Through parliament.
Because he controlled parliament.
But
Okay,
parliament was his.
Yeah.
No, ndugu yangu, let me tell you. You know, as we're complaining, now we can talk. You don't know how far we've come. An MP could not address wananchi even in a Barasa without a letter from the chief or the OCS. No, nakwambia. Address his own people. So if you are anti the system, you never got that letter. And you tried to address, you were arrested and charged.
Because it was illegal now.
Yeah.
You and I, we were sitting here like this, tungechukuliwa mapema sana. In our house, you have a party of more than 5 people and you have no letter from the police station. I'm a chief. Unabebwa. Night meeting. Hiyo inaitwa night meeting. Unafanya nini?
That's how insecure
It was called Public Order Act.
Huh?
Yes, it was the law.
Yeah.
So you can't converge 5 people and just...
Where? Even in kwa nyumba?
Even outside?
No. You go for a license that you're having a party in your house. Unaenda license. But if the OCS does not give you, too bad. Or
That
the
is
chief.
So kuna tibashe to my friends.
Ungeshikwa daily.
Mimi I'd be in and out of cells.
This is why you need to appreciate the history.
No,
Yeah.
truly.
Where we have come from. Usije munaangalia watu munawadismiss.
Yeah.
People have fought here
Truth and
for
nail,
years for what you are enjoying today.
Yeah.
The people who used to be like... My dad used to tell me, like, even in a bar, you couldn't talk politics.
No.
Because you didn't know who was who.
Yeah.
So there were spies everywhere.
Yes. Even the barman was on the payroll of NIS.
What?
Yeah, everybody. Even now, barmen are on the payroll of NIS. Everybody is. Many places are. But now all they can say is, this is what people are saying. Those days it was, Maria Nazumza. By the time you get outside. Now, and you imagine, Moi had the power to detain you without trial.
Yeah.
So anakushika tu, you disappear. Okay? The Nyayo torture chambers were real. And you imagine, hiyo ilikuwa scheme. Right? That we need to create an enemy. Because this enemy is a bit amorphous, Yeah, Maria. Kuna watu ambao they sit down to create schemes, conspiracy theories, so they can create an enemy to fight. So that your attention goes there. So they were very afraid of the intelligentsia, the university dons, the authors in our universities, the professors and so on. Because they used to congregate and they used to shape thinking. Right? In classrooms. University students were very active. In private arenas and so on. Well versed with a change. So a man called Hezekiah Oyugi, who was then Moi's internal security PS, comes up with a scheme called Mwakenya. It was a scheme. And he does so because he had become a second intelligence unit away from what was called special branch at the time. So they come up with a scheme that these people are spreading propaganda and that they intend to raise guns to maliza the government of Moi. They are a threat to peace and stability of the nation. A threat to Moi is a threat to the country. Okay. And they started printing papers that sedition. Okay? Pamphlet too. Being printed all over the place. So they come, they arrest you. They were trying to arrest me the other day. They don't plant guns, they plant this Kenya document. You're sitting here in a cafe, unachukuliwa. Na ukichukuliwa, you're taken to Nyayo torture chambers. Right? And there was a very bad man, very big man. I'll tell you his name next time. Who was the biggest torturer this country has ever known.
Still alive?
Hata, when we are seeing these things of Assad, siju kama mnaona vile Assad has been doing wonders in Syria to people, to prisoners. That guy was like that. Now, down below, where you see
Is he still alive?
No, he died. Downstairs, where you see the car park today of Nyayo Chambers, was cells. They were all cells. Some they could even waterlog. So they put water. So unaingizwa ndani with water up to here.
For a couple of days.
Up to. So how do you sit or sleep?
Yeah.
How? When you urinate, hapo. When you do whatever, hapo. And you asked, have you accepted to sign ya kwamba umefanya hiyo, you were found with Mwakenya's nini? So you end up saying yes.
Because you really just want to live here.
You are not getting food. You have not slept. You just sign. You're taken straight to court. Moi at the time used to appoint judges.
So
Yes.
After writing
and
the
there are some
Constitution.
notorious judges. Oh yeah. Na kulikuwa some notorious ones, even wazungu. There was one called Justice Dugdale. Dugdale alikuwa mbaya sana. If you go to watch Dugdale, you know you're inside.
done.
No, you're finished.
Now, just tell your lawyer to go home.
He has admitted. Yes. There's nothing to discuss.
That sentence.
There's no mitigation. Yeah. 12 years. Yeah. You go to committee. Well, yeah, we have seen things here.
No, you go find my grandfather.
Ndio hiyo. We have come through what you call our political liberation. Nakwambia si mchezo. So 92, Matiba was a great inspiration.
Yeah.
He was a wealthy man that had come into politics, that was a friend of Moi's, that was a game changer. Matiba was ambitious, yes, but he was a game changer. The man believed. Kwanza, this Kenya is not even owned by Africans. Wazungu na Wahindi ndio wana control inchi. And he took a template that had been done by J.M. Kariuki. That this is a country of 10 millionaires and 10 million poor people. That's what J.M. used to say. At the time, we were 10 million. So he took that template. Ya kwamba, this thing has got to change. It's got to change. And he was aggressive, right? This is a man who had removed the only doctor, the first doctor that was ever a Kenyan, called Dr. Julius Gikonyo Kiano. Do you know that? Julius Gikonyo Kiano was the first doctor Kenya ever had. First PhD. Then Kiano was a permanent feature in the cabinet of Jomo and in the cabinet of Moi, from Muranga.
Hey, Moranga.
Just so you know.
Motown.
Now Motown. So Matiba had removed him in the in the election before, and he introduced what is called shock and awe. Okay, he was then executive chairman of breweries. So his campaign was he would address a rally, hapa. Those two tankers which used to carry pombe, they'll be there. So guys would just go and drink like crazy.
Damn.
Okay? And he was very colorful. With the Tusker tents, Nini.
On his tab?
No, it was. It was. Huh?
On his tab?
His campaign was, on his tab. I mean, he was the chairman. Those days you didn't have to quit.
Yeah.
So he was executive chairman of breweries. And he wiped out Kiano. Everybody believed Kiano was a permanent fixture in Kenyan politics until his death. Honestly, the guy showed him shock and awe. Okay? Very flamboyant campaign. And that was Matiba. Very flamboyant. He was a minister of health. The kind of guy who would wake up in Kakamega Hospital in the morning like this, pretending he's a patient. Yeah. And he's carried that. Then he says, you see. That time KBC would follow him because you see. These doctors don't work. Look how the nurses are treating people. And it will be big news.
Oh, wow.
That's Matiba.
So he'd be Minister of Health, but still executive chair at TABL.
Yeah, no, but that he
That was
eventually
after.
left.
Okay. Yeah.
That he eventually left. Now, he was that flamboyant. So he caught the media's attention. So here he is telling Moi, and it was a big deal with removing this thing. And they set a date called July 7th. Saba. And of course, him, Raila, and Rubia got detained before that. Right? And it didn't stop people. It didn't stop all of us. I went to Saba.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Hey,
Young man, I went.
Umeshi?
Yeah. I was a very young man. I was very young. Very early 20s. I think 21, 22, I was there. Okay?
Yeah.
I can tell you it was fantastic. You know the defiance? The police did not even know what they were facing. Yeah. It's the first time I could tear gas. Right? After that, we brought Matiba back. He got detained, he got ill, went out for surgery, came back, and I joined his campaign. We got tear gassed everywhere. Moi would not allow him to campaign. We got tear gassed. I remember one time in Embu very badly. We would never be allowed to campaign. But we had a great time.
Yeah.
Right? And it was great to face authority in the face. Moi is not Ruto.
Yeah.
Ruto, you guys can shout at him every day. He can do nothing. He can only do so much. And he's suffering because of it. Then, you did. Nobody challenged authority. So it was a great feeling. That's when I think the rebellion spirit in some of us really came out.
Yeah.
So we are revolutionaries.
Believe that. And then, so in Toto, how involved were you in the Kibaki campaign?
Very heavily involved.
What was your role?
In fact, I was the head of logistics for NAC.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
But apart from that technical role at Mwenge House, I had a lot to do with the run-up of what you saw as unity towards 202. George Saitoti had become a very good friend of mine. And in December 2001, we had a visitation. We were in Mombasa from somebody who had just gone to see Moi in State House, Mombasa. Saitoti, the vice president.
Yes.
And the person tells us, Moi has decided that the man who is going to take over from him in the next election in a year
Is Uhuru.
is Uhuru Kenyatta.
And Uhuru, at this point, he was never involved in politics. No.
He had just been made a nominated
was,
MP.
but yeah.
Just about 2-3 months before.
Yes. But
No, he
never
had tried to
campaigned.
stand. No, he had tried to stand before.
They
The
fronted him
election of
earlier.
97,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
he
I
lost.
know.
Yes.
And he lost.
Yeah.
So this time now, Makto had to leave his seat. Right? He was a nominated
Oh my
MP.
God.
Yeah.
All this
He was
is Moi's
And Uhuru was
handwriting.
brought in. This
They
was
basically
Moi's.
fixed him
Yeah, they fixed
for
him.
202 now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're told categorically that this is happening and that there's going to be a Kano election that is going to create 4 vice presidents, 4 chairmen, yeah.
All of you have,
And the fellow tells us, I told you, where utakuwa hapo?
as
You're
one of the
supposed to be
vice
vice
presidents.
president of the country,
Yeah.
but not of the party anymore because he was also the vice president
Yeah.
of Kano. And we sit back. You know, I started laughing. Okay? I said, I went to school with Uhuru. Are you joking? You guys are not joking. The guy, is he going to leave the bar?
Yeah.
No, because we were all about fun.
Yeah.
Right? It was about fun.
Yeah.
I said, are you sure?
So, at the time, the whiskey was whisking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, no, this can't be
There's
serious.
no way.
Yes.
I couldn't believe what was
He's
going to
leave the bar.
that he was going to risk this thing. But you know, no, nakwambia, it started becoming real
Yeah.
before our eyes. So I, out of my own initiative, informing George, informing a few people I knew politically, reached out to Wamalwa, Kijana Wamalwa, who was a very good friend of mine. I told him, Moi is going to play karata here. And he's going to rule us for another God knows how many years.
Yeah.
Right? Another 10 years. Because at the time, in 97, we passed the 2-term limit. Says he's going to rule us through a puppet. Okay? Uhuru is my generation. Lakini, this guy is now just being brought as a puppet. So he says, are you sure, Jimmy? I said, absolutely. So I asked him whether he can start talking with Kibaki and Charity Ngilu because they were the leading opposition, right? To find a way of forming some coalition that they can be together. This is end of January 2001. By the end of February 2001, my friend Raila had approached me, told me Moi is playing games. The games that he had agreed in Kanu is not the same. Wapi rafiki yako Saitoti? Raila now, by the way, I knew him from 1990. In fact, he's, I think, my oldest political friend that's alive today.
He used to talk like that, the way he talks.
He was a
young man.
No, he was a bit
Faster
quicker.
though.
Oh, okay.
He was a
Back
bit
in the day.
sharper. I need to meet that man of yours. We need to get together. We need to panga against this guy. So we had a meeting. And we pangaed now what to start doing. What to do when Kanu has its election. In fact, it's at that meeting. Raila was supposed to be one of the vice chairmen. It's at that meeting, George convinced him to be secretary general. He said, hold the party like this, because that's how you'll uproot it.
Yeah.
Okay? Not as vice chairman.
Yeah.
So he went and changed the game to Moi, and Moi was not very amused, but he insisted. Now, the understanding for Raila with Moi when we went for cooperation is that you come and be the beneficiary of my party. All right? You'll be even the presidential candidate, Hukumbele. And Raila, his greatest fear was Saitoti.
Why?
He said, you see, me nimekuwa kwa elections. I've just come from an election in 97. I used to campaign in Motown. And they used to call me Jabba. Okay?
Yeah.
This guy stood with Matiba and Rubia. Kibaki is a coward. He spoiled the votes of Matiba in 92. You are the only Jabba. We are going to give you votes.
Yeah.
Then at the time, I remember him showing me a sheet of the votes that came out of Motown. Him, he got 11,000 and Kibaki got almost 300,000. So sasa hii na walimuita Kegoya. Kegoya is a coward. This thing is too tribal.
Yeah.
So if Saitoti is the beneficiary that side, he will no longer be a Masai, he will become a Kikuyu. Sasa hii wa Kikuyu wote watakuja upande huu. So he went to remove him, believing now he would take over Moi's territory.
Okay.
Right? And take that territory and fight Kibaki.
Yeah.
Now, Moi, fine, he dumped Kibaki. Saitoti. But what does he decide to do? To bring now thoroughbred Mkikuyu called Uhuru. So he changed the dynamics.
Yeah.
So Raila was quite pissed off with it.
Yeah.
And thought, we can't continue with Moi's rule. The country can't take it. It needs a break. It needs a change. And I can say that period was now the advent of what we eventually saw as Rainbow, which we climaxed, by the way, here.
At
You
Norfolk?
didn't know about it?
Where?
Didn't know Maria, eh?
Was still a
Rainbow
baby.
Lions.
Rainbow was born where?
Here at Norfolk?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Oh, shit.
In fact, we sat up there. 4 of us. Saitoti, Raila, myself, and Kamodo. Pale.
Who was the fourth person?
That is Kamodo.
Kamotho, yeah.
And then Raila and
Charity.
no, Raila and Kamodo had the presser. And I walked out with George. And George just said, follow my steps. Read my lips. Watch my steps. Okay?
Okay.
That was where they announced.
The Rainbow Lions.
Rainbow Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh, we're children.
So we are.
This
we
is
read
significant.
such
We are here
babies.
for a reason.
I read, really? So I have 2 questions around the same thing, right? So when Uhuru is being fixed, is this a decision that you think Moi makes by himself, or there's other forces behind as well?
When who is being fixed?
When Uhuru is clearly being fronted, you think this is a decision that Moi makes by himself, or there's also other forces behind it?
Moi was very much a sole operator. In other words, he took advice. He listened to many people. His own cadre of elders, political people, very strong like Nicholas Biwott. But at the end of the day, none of them would tell you that he has taken my advice. What he decided in the morning,
Is
you find is
different.
completely different. For example, multipartism. They all told him, Mzee, if you dare open that thing up, we are done. And you're done. And his whole political cabral was against the removal of 2A. He got up at a Kano conference and said, "Mina ngoa hiyo kitu." Look at those videos, the shock on some of their faces. Yeah.
And they can't
He
dare
didn't
say
even warn
anything.
them before he got there.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Yeah. So
He
he
didn't.
operated.
So Moi
on
was
his
a
own
very
accord,
unique,
yeah.
was a very unique man.
Okay.
He was about his own survival. And he was very good at it.
Okay.
Very good at it. I must give him that. So 24 years he ruled this country. He
With an
survived.
iron fist.
And he walked out peacefully. No, peacefully. There was no bloodshed when he exited.
True.
Nobody ever followed him.
Yeah.
He walked off peacefully. He accepted the loss of his puppet. Because they lost in 202.
Yeah.
Yes. And he went off.
So in 202.
How many dictators and tyrants in Africa went off like Moi?
Not too many.
Yeah, not many.
Oh, who? Tell me who?
Ule wetu wa huku hivi 256 ameshikilia.
Oh, Naj.
Our neighbor.
Not anything soon.
Actually, most of the ones, even most of the recent ones,
Can
there's
you know
always
that one
war.
got in with a gun?
Yeah.
Aliingia na bunduki.
Na
And the
amekuwa-
only way to
and
remove him
Komanayo,
ni bunduki.
niyo
Na
tu.
amekuwa ma-
Now he
yes.
said his first statement was, "I will not cling to power."
Yeah, I remember.
But he walked in with a gun.
Yeah.
True.
Here, Moi walked in, not even with kuras. You can say it was kuras za KANU, because
Yeah.
the first presidential election we had here was 1992.
Yeah.
So ni kura za KANU as a party.
Was it free and fair?
Wow. You know,
Free,
now who was
yes,
going to
fair,
challenge?
not so much.
He had no challenger.
But the question is,
He had no challenger.
did the people actually want Kibaki, or guys were fed up with Moi and they were like, anyone, just not Moi? Was Kibaki just at the right time, at the right place?
He was at right time, right place. And nobody really had any point of fear or hatred of Kibaki. He was an amenable guy.
Yeah.
You know, he seemed like he was sober, He was a fair guy. He would keep his word. He's not going to be Moi.
Okay.
You know, and he wasn't. He wasn't Moi.
He wasn't.
He wasn't Moi. Kibaki had the power to detain. He never detained anybody.
Yeah.
True.
He still had the old constitution. We could then talk in bars. Hii mambo yati you couldn't talk in bars. Now we could talk in bars. We had no fear. That's why you're not going to take back that game.
Era that
You can't take back that game.
Yeah.
Wakati wa Kibaki, when he could have fingered us with the old constitution, he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't actually. Yeah.
Then you expect that now you're going to cut my mouth. I mean, you must be sick in the head.
I know.
20 years later. I have a question about
imagining such things.
When the fear was disappearing, because the publications like, let's say, Akina Whispers, them they were writing about Moi without fear.
Yes.
How was that? Did they get in trouble for that?
Yes, many times. Many times.
But he kept writing.
Yes. Yes.
And this was
People
in the
fought,
90s.
bro. Liberators existed.
Let me tell you, it was very bad. You disappeared. I think one day we really need to a proper roster of heroes. There are people who are killed here that you don't know about, that did wonders in terms of just this free space.
Yeah.
So I keep saying we are not. Even today, I wanted to at least announce the heroes of this, and I guess I'll do it at the end.
Okay.
You know, the 60 people who died, those are heroes.
True.
And
And
we
those are the ones
cannot
we
forget
can
them.
account for only.
Yes,
There's still a
because
lot
they say
that have disappeared.
132, they say.
But because
We don't know where they are.
Because the other day, even City Mortuary was like, there's so many unclaimed bodies.
Yeah.
The other quarry that we walk up to bodies. So you can just imagine how many are unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Do you know, niko na shamba hapa Ruiru Juja here. And one of the biggest problems there is hyenas.
We've been seeing in the news.
Hey, Maria, nakwambia. Hapa shida ya hyenas. You cannot believe it. And they want to eat human beings. And we now believe a lot of the stories that in truth, it is because they are tasting human beings all over the place.
That's very
so now they're
true.
coming for more.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have a big problem. What William Ruto has done to this nation in the short time he has been there, 827 days now. 800
You're
days.
counting
literally
exact
keeping
number of days. Jimmy.
There's another 983 days left to the next election. We can't actually wait. If he's done this in less than the period that is ahead,
What about
can you
what is
imagine
to
by that
come?
time?
Yeah. So we're not even halfway.
No.
Not yet.
Nope.
Not yet.
And it feels like forever.
Not
Bado.
yet.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Na kuua watoto. Kuua watoto. He is going to be held accountable for it.
Yeah.
Yes. And all the people that did it. One of the big reasons he was saved of ICC was also that we don't return to this nonsense. Yes.
Yeah. And when I come to this current regime, so just one thing about Saitoti, because he was a friend as well. So leading up to 2013, when now we had Jubilee, was Saitoti planning to vie for presidency before the accident?
Oh, yes.
What do you think happened to him?
In fact, I'll tell you, you know, we were not called the deep state for nothing. We have played some karata here. And Saitoti was somebody that I believed was going to do wonders after Kibaki's economic growth. Now, when my two friends were indicted in ICC, they themselves approached me. In fact, the person who brought Uhuru to me, although I went to school with Uhuru, known him most of my life, was this William.
Ruto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Uhuru, after 2002, we were not very good friends. You know, we were on the opposite side, and some people take these things much to
Personal.
heart.
Got you.
So the person who brought him was this William.
Also talk about how
My
you
home.
met Ruto, because I want to know where that connection happened as well. And at what point?
Actually, I'll tell you, I met Ruto in 2006. And we met somewhere in Karen. He wanted to see me. He was brought by my friend Charles Kitter, the former Minister for Energy. And at the time, there was a very big issue of balancing what has just happened out of the ODM referendum. So that's when I met William.
This is after Chungwa now.
This was after
Yeah,
Chungwa,
Chungwa.
2005. And we became very good friends. He had some issues. He had been taken to court for various issues. And he knew some of us were instrumental in having those facts being brought to light about the things he had done at the end of the Moi regime. And it was correct. Because now, kama umeenda, umeiba at the pipeline, why should you just be walking around? So he had been charged. But actually told him he was never the target. The target were others, right? Who were more deeply entrenched in the Moi regime, like Kulei. He was just collateral damage because he was there. So that was the basis of a lot of our discussion at the time. And we decided, we liked each other's minds, and we decided we would work together. And I helped guide him in his, let me say, his attachment to ODM in the 2007 election. And after that, I can tell you, I was his point of reference because a lot of what I told him would happen, did happen, even to himself. So that's where I got to know William.
Okay.
2006 specifically.
Then now he brings Kenyatta to you now.
So now he brings Kenyatta and he says, let's bygones be bygones. Let us look at trying to put this thing together. Jimmy, you have the skills. We have a problem we can see coming called ICC. How do we come out of this monster? Uhuru at the time was the Minister of Finance and Deputy Prime Minister. And we started. The first thing I told them is that you should do a local tribunal. Hii mambo ya wazungu, wazungu will eat you people up. Let's do a local thing here. Kenyans vent, like these Kichacha courts of Rwanda. Let people come, right? Vent their issues. We solve them here. We agree. The worst, Uhuru was very good. Ruto was not. Ruto just said, nyinyi wa Kikuyu mutachinja mimi. Hii ni kichinjio. No. I will not accept. I even suggested at one time, why don't we have it in Eldoret? If you think Nairobi is going to be a problem. They refused. So they killed the bill in Parliament. Gitogo in Manyara brought another one. He said, we have a second opportunity. A few months later. Wakakata. I said, okay, you have left your fate to the Mzungus. Watch it coming. For some reason, Uhuru believed it may come. But you know, you never really know. Ni kama wale ambao wanaambiwa ati the police are looking for you. You know, many people don't believe it. No, Maria, it's true. They have seen people telling you, unajua unatafutwa. Okay? And they wait for that hoodie on the door, then they start looking for the window to take off. Okay? Uhuru was like that. But Bill did not believe Mzungus were going to do it. So when it did happen, so we converged again on how politically to deal with this monster, boy Naitwa, ICC. And that was just before we had done the 2010 Constitution.
Were they guilty of the crimes they were charged for?
Well, you know, I'm not a judge.
I mean, from the information.
So guilty.
So guilty. The answer yes.
I cannot say I saw all the evidence. I didn't.
Okay,
and I didn't hear all sides.
The kidogo that you saw.
No, let me not pronounce. I saw all the accusations.
Okay.
I saw the accusations. I saw the conjecture of evidence against both parties. But you see, did we really go through their defense? We didn't.
True.
We didn't.
But also at this point, when you're saying dealing with this monster of ICC, is the main objective to clear their names or to get justice?
I agree with you. The issue is that there was such an injustice created here. You know, 1,400 people were killed. You had about 300,000 people that were displaced. It was important that that never happens again in this country. So dealing with ICC was, why do we need to be policed? That's why we were saying local tribunal. By others instead of ourselves. And I tell you, the hijacking of ICC was very sad. and I don't mind saying it on this show, the British hijacked that thing to a very large extent. The British, because of the history you're talking about here, Mau Mau, you know, the greatest genocide in this country on us was the Mzungus, the British. It is estimated between 300 to 900,000 people of Gema that they killed. Yes, Maria. Yes. If you go by official records, they say it's 11,000. A total lie. Because they burnt records. They went with them. And they have been one thing in their minds. Because the propaganda, back when there was accusations of the hundreds of thousands, was that no, these are Kikuyus who are killing themselves. It's Mau Mau killing the collaborators. But it was them. They were terrible. Now, they wanted to change history. That you see, these are the people.
So, yeah.
They kill each other. It's got nothing to do with us. So you find a way of wiping out
change the
that history.
narrative.
Because we never got justice for it. We've never up until today gotten justice for it. So they wanted to change the narrative. Now, once we allow them in to do that, we are finishing ourselves. So it is something that we needed to deal with ourselves. Get justice, I fully agree, for the people, and understand what is it really that can make us come out like that against each other. It's madness. That's why you're killing your fellow Kenyan because of what? Because of what?
Yeah. What would have success look like at that point, justice-wise, if the local tribunal route?
I'd like to look at what happened in Rwanda. The courts that Kagame put up were after the court system had only gotten so many people. Because neighbors were killing each other. How many are you going to take through a formal court system? And does that create healing? So the CHEQUE courts that he set up were primarily a place where those aggrieved and those who perpetuated were brought. And those aggrieved vented their pain. And those who did perpetuated, admitted, and sought forgiveness. And you find in most of those cases, after the initial justice cases, there was forgiveness. Because your neighbor, you found him in your house taking a panga to your children because they are Tutsi. I have friends there who are Hutu and are Tutsi married.
How much time?
Each other. And the wife is a Tutsi. And she's being told,
You can't be
choose.
here anymore.
No, choose. The man is being told to choose. We are going to kill these children
For your wife.
or your wife. And we want you to take the panga. And the wife is begging, take my life. And he has to take the panga to the wife. So those things were vented out in those courts. So we're saying we can do that in Kenya. Okay? We don't need this thing from outside. So that we all understand where we're going and how we are not going to allow this to continue happening. Okay? Yes.
Yeah. So then Jubilee happens. So the two guys win the election. Then there's issues with Baba, and then they say you brokered the peace agreement.
Which peace agreement?
Between
handshake.
now Uhuru Ruto and Raila side.
Let me start somewhere else. Why did I agree to help them? Agree to help
Me, I'm
them.
just surprised that what is it about you that keeps drawing these people to you?
Yeah. Honestly.
Because I'll before 2017, personally, I didn't know who you are.
Yes.
But then when I started reading on you, I'm like, who the hell is this guy, man? Like, just behind the scenes, who ni nani?
Moving chess pieces in silence.
Yeah.
I never wanted frontline politics. But what drove me to try and solve this was several things. The first, I believed we should sort out ICC. And that it should be a local issue. Not only about them, but for justice. And we had a template we agreed on. Secondly, we must sort out this intertribal maneno, especially between Kikuyus and Kalenjins. Thirdly, we had a new constitution. We needed new energy to implement it. Okay? This was, to me, a break from one generation to another. So our forefathers, Kibaki, or our fathers called Kibaki, were our fathers. They took over independent Kenya with a particular constitution. Now we, the children, baby boomers, had the onerous task of the new one. And I was very excited that this new generation, young generation, us, were actually going to change Kenya for the better. We are going to do wonders. Okay? We kept saying we're on a runway. Kibaki has left us on the runway. Now it's about taking off. Okay? So you see those real reasons. And I had, number 5, a covenant with them. The country saves you, you save the country. I'm a spiritual person. Catholic upbringing. I am very spiritual. If I do a covenant with you, you're in a covenant. Okay? So if the country saves them, why would they not save?
So this was a gentleman's agreement?
No.
Verbal?
To God.
Okay.
Now, we all know politicians.
Make a covenant to God?
You know, we all know politicians. Don't
Kill
ask
a
so
goat.
much, brother.
I'm just curious. I'm like, what happens in this covenant?
Soma Biblia sasa.
You see, we were very clear
Yeah.
that their lives are being saved. Because I can assure you, had they not gone those posts, mngesikia wamepata ile 50 years ya Taylor. All right? You'll not be hearing of them today. You'll be hearing they're in a cell somewhere. There are people who did bad things to us. Okay? Siasa ndio iliwasaidia. Kenyans saved their lives and their families. Now, we all know politicians. They get to a position, wanakaa, and they forget the promises, it becomes about themselves. But because here, these were people who were saved by the people, I honestly believe they would adhere to that covenant. Okay?
Yes.
Within 1 year, we had fallen out. Because it was no longer about the people. Yeah.
Because they said your fallout with Uhuru and Ruto was because they did not make you the main agent of the SGR projects, which was your brainchild from the Kibaki times. That is what is reported.
Well, you know, the problem with this game, siasa, is that because they had the platform, they are the ones who had the greatest...
Got ahead of the narrative.
Yes, they were ahead of the narrative, Maria. That's correct. So they sell this thing, okay? So that it becomes, there's a guy here. Huh? In fact, I think I used to be called cartel. Kuna cartel. Cartel. Huh? Which has been doing things, now it wants to continue doing those things. It was not about money.
So what was your interest?
It was not about money. Live to the covenant. And you see, I'm a businessman, my friend. If you are going to take this cake and disenfranchise Kenyans just for yourselves, what biashara are you and I going to do? What to? If they don't have money, do you have soko? No. But the principle was horrible because they had decided, and they decided, the two of them, that they are going to cause economic genocide on Kenyans. I blame Ruto more because I'm the one who did the MOU. And the MOU was divided on 2 pillars. Moja, bunduki. Ingine, pesa. So interior is bunduki. Treasury, ni pesa. And the man who took treasury was Bill. Because Uhuru said, unajua ukiwa na bunduki, you can go for the money. So Bill, wechukua treasury. So we agreed and divided cabinet on the basis of that. And the opposite that came out of the treasury from beginning is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ndugu yangu. I'll give you an example. In March 2014, Duale takes a bill to Parliament where he seeks to amend the Constitution through Public Finance Management Act, an act of Parliament. Right? Now, to do that, right, you need the Attorney General, it was Gideon Mugai, who says it's okay to do it. The cabinet approved it. So, the section which is the most criminal of all is this one. Article 206 of the Constitution reads like this. All monies of the government shall enter the consolidated fund. With only 2 exceptions. 1, A, housing fund, a fund passed by Parliament. Petroleum Development Fund. Okay? They have their own accounts. All revenues mean tax revenue, loan revenue, kila kitu. And B, if a ministry or a corporation makes a profit, they can keep it to a fair expenses of the next financial year. A profit, any higher. A and B, that's the constitution. So they take it, copy-paste it in Public Finance Management Act, Section 57, as it is in the constitution. Then Duale comes with an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act. And he amends that section of A and B and adds C and D, which is changing the constitution through an act. So you just need a simple majority. And C and D are to do with the loans. That loans can go anywhere in the world. They don't have to come here.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So even offshore accounts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
You can do anything. You can go anywhere. And you can pay for things from outside. You can do whatever. Yeah.
These are loans to the government?
Yes.
Yeah.
Supposed loans to the government don't have to come to the central bank account. They can go anywhere. So what does that do? That takes away three things. One, the accountant general can only look at what is a consolidated fund. One account. So they can't audit. Number two, control of budget, who approves all the expenditure, all the removals. If the ministry wants to buy a chair, it has to have what is called a vote head passed by budget. Okay? So anything that comes control of budgets, he sees this Ministry of Transport doing what, paying salaries. Okay, I approve. This is what it's about. Right? Now here, you don't need her approval to move money. She doesn't see it. And three, it doesn't have to be in the budget.
So like in
And
simple
that is where your economic genocide began.
Yeah.
So we'd get money, let's say, from, World Bank have given us money for a road.
A road, yeah.
It would go somewhere in another account
Yes.
inside.
And
And
it
someone
started
can access
audit-
it as they want.
Correct. So it started with the Eurobond, which came 2 months after that passing, where a man called the Accountant General, who is still there today, called Banandongo, and his deputy, go to JP Morgan Chase, who were the people that raised the first $2 billion Eurobond. So they go to New York, and they open an account there called Sovereign Wealth Fund Kenya. See, they can open an account.
Yeah.
Using personal details.
See, they went there with a letter from Rotich, the Minister of Finance.
Okay.
These are the agents who sign accounts. So they go to New York, wanafungua hiyo
It's
account.
giving Kamlesh.
I know.
Some papers, you get money.
The more things change,
Most things-
the
The
more
more
they stay the same.
Truly.
Yeah.
So, PESA, as they collect JP Morgan Chase at raising Eurobond money for Kenya, it goes to that account. Who is in charge of its distribution? Those two fellows. Do they need control of budget?
Of course
No.
not.
So they access it like the way me access my account.
Yeah.
Literally,
They
like
do online.
Miyako.
Online. Wanafanya vitu. So they transfer $650 million to a syndicated loan. Right? That Kibaki took. That one, because now when you started making noise, Rotich had to show us details. We see the SWIFT. Ilienda. Then they transfer 350 to consolidated account. In other words, central bank. Hiyo tunaona. Then we said, okay, that's $1 billion. Wapi
Where's the
ingine?
rest? Exactly.
Huh? We screamed for about 3-4 months. Then, September, they say, here it is. We unleashed it in September. So from May to September, those guys kept it. That's when we realized there's it's not
there's something
JP Morgan
going
keeping it.
on. Yeah.
It's another account. That's how we realized what this account is. They kept it. Then we said, where's the SWIFT? Told us, no. By the way, we also did some tap sales. Now there was extra sales because there was demand.
Yeah.
Through Citibank in December that year. And here is the SWIFT. Citibank, you can see $850 million straight from London into central bank. Said, okay, good. But can you raise that other $1 billion here September?
Yeah.
When we made noise that we were going to go and raid Rotich's office, they sent us a SWIFT, which is redacted, blackened out. No, I'll show you that thing. Blackened out, yeah.
What details are missing?
Where did it go? You know, a SWIFT says from this account,
this to
then
this.
it has numbers, you know,
Yeah.
including value date in a particular area.
Yeah.
When did it arrive in a particular account? It shows it moved from this bank to this bank to this account. And on what dates? That's what a SWIFT does, a SWIFT transfer. You see, sheet. So this one, which we insisted on,
Blacked out.
they blacked it out. No, I'm telling you, Ngiango. No, why you look at me like that?
No,
This is a government and it was given and uploaded by Rotich. It was blackened out.
yeah.
All right? Completely. When we made noise, a man called my good friend who had actually brought this to my attention, Jacob Juma, was killed.
Yeah.
And then the international media became funny. Americans, nobody wanted to take on the story.
Yeah.
So he said, don't worry, this thing will come back. But that was the beginning, Maria. And if Izuri Mujue, that was where our slavery began. And I can tell you, that is why we did not participate. Angalia SGR, ndugu yangu, which you are saying, tulikosana. No.
Even though kunasema, ukifungua online size, that's what they're saying. They're saying the fallout.
That's the story.
Yeah.
Read.
Kasirika.
Read it. Finally, something for you to read. We can even share exact links. Kama ni yangu mimi nakwambia very well. Ni yangu tumia link. Yeah.
Wajua hiyo kitu ilikuwa wizi peke yake. I began that project, that is true, 2008. In fact, at Raila, I got him to call a meeting. Yeah, the ministry was, wakati huo alikuwa prime minister. I got him to call a meeting of RVR, Railways, Ministry of Transport, na sisi, to do a technical study and a feasibility study.
So
Na hii kampuni hii.
So this is you now operating privately now.
Yes.
Okay.
As JIMMY WANJIGI Private. With a company called China Road and Bridge. Madi at the time was a man called Dufay, a very good fellow. Tukafanya hiyo study. 3 years we were ready. With a project from Mombasa to Malaba of 60 billion.
Yeah.
Okay? And we did not need government money. That was a real estate project. Yeah, ujue si tunajua biashara. We were just straightening that line. Hii mambo ya kwenda juu, see, we didn't understand what that nonsense was. Okay? That is normally looting business. Okay? We were just straightening that line. Ifike huku.
The old line.
The old line.
Yeah.
Right? Widening it. Right? To meter gauge, from meter gauge to SGR. And I can assure you, we had done the sabo. There are about 7 main products. Right? That route, wheat, maize, fuel oil, namna hiyo. That plow that route. Okay? We had a very good company that said, we are going to bring the bogies, right? We want to run it. We give you so much money every year. On that investment of 60, we had a return on investment within 7-8 years. Katu. Yes, and we had a very good loan at something like 3%.
Yeah.
Okay? Then this government decides, Abana, this is too important a line, it must become a government project. Watu watoe pesa yao bana. Wananchi should invest. This is too strategic. Kupatia mtu kama Jimmy biashara ati he's the one now. All the goods and services ya Kenya ati inatoka ati is in his hands. He's going to become a little god here. Hapana, serikali. And a project that was 60B became a project of 380B between Mombasa and Nairobi.
In Nairobi, yeah.
And 500B to Naivasha. Maria, hiyo ni kweli?
Almost times 10.
Nasikia tu pesa mingi.
So, where I thought labda watu wanakula from 60 to 500 or to 380, okay? So you say people eating 200-300. But then they went up, so there's works. Mine was not going up. Those civil works were not there. Even if you say they ate maybe 100.
Yeah.
And then they ate maybe another 100 up to Naivasha. I said, aye, that is a lot of looting.
Yeah.
But we did the numbers. Wakati tulifanya numbers, we got a shock. And the shock was this. The contract was 500. Works, wagons. China said they are going to give us 90% of that money, which is 450 billion. 50 billion, Kenya's watoe. So Treasury put a line item called Self-Raising Finance Grant to Kenya Railways for SGR construction. Okay? To tour that 50B. Tukafanya hesabu. China walitupatia hiyo pesa 450, kweli ama si kweli? True. We drew down. China Exim Bank gave that money. Sadaya, hii self-raising finance ya 50 billion, kweli tulilipa? Tukafanya hesabu year on year. Vitabu za serikali. It was not Mwass. It was not 50. It was 644 billion.
On top of the
644 billion. Instead of 50 billion.
That was raised by us.
Yes. So you tell me what that is. So the total receipts to a company called China Road and Bridge is 1.1, just over 1.1 trillion. For a project of 500. We paid for that railway ourselves. We didn't need a loan. And today, it's one of the most expensive loans in our loan book. We didn't need it. So, with that money, you could have taken it all the way to Malaba.
Yeah.
So the game shifted.
Yeah.
The game shifted to making sure we become poor. And you guys don't see it because when you take loans, it is called tax in advance. So now when Zakayo is hitting you, it's because he has got to pay those loans.
True.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's tax in advance. Those loans today, na ni nyingi.
Ni mingi?
Which you don't know where it went to.
Yeah.
Right? Because kwa summary ni hivi.
But also they've not done an audit.
But I will give you the audit. I've done it.
Okay.
I've done it. Na iko hivi.
So,
and
so
it's very
with the audit, so you know where the money is. Like if you had someone in power who said want to retrieve the money, ni kesho tu hivi the money is retrieved.
Ajua nyinyi, I think you people want to put me in line to be shot.
Sasa as who?
As who? Sasa wewe.
Kwa sababu,
I think you've been in more trouble before you came on.
Let me tell you, you don't understand the kind of volumes of money you're talking about. And the conspiracies that must be there.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, in 10 years, you know how much we needed to borrow?
No.
How much?
Like,
Maria, hata wewe hujui?
Like what?
Zero.
We are summer.
You know, unajua you need to understand your lives, eh? Right?
Yeah.
Government kwanza is everything. It is not just part. It is everything to do with your lives. Yes. Don't think you can ignore what a government does. So you need to be aware of what it does. Ile inafanya kazi.
Yeah.
Now, in 10 years, all our expenses are 14.6 trillion. We did the numbers to 2023. Development, 6 trillion. County, salaries, pension, operations, 14.6. Pesa mingi. 10 years. Lakini kodi yetu, when you do those same 10 years, inakuja 13.3 trillion.
That's from
so
tax
anybody
collection.
telling you we don't pay tax,
Yeah.
we pay tax.
Yeah.
If you count, what is the difference between 14.6 and 13.3? 1.4, 1.3?
1.3, yeah.
Yeah, 1.3. So you ask, so that you're shortfall. Yeah. So what did we borrow? 7.7. So if you minus 7.7, 1.4 is?
Around 6.3.
Right, 6.3. Money.
Trillion.
That trillion.
In case we get confused.
You is what, about $50 billion. Okay?
Yeah.
Which is nowhere in the budget. Haijalipa mshahara moja. Haijajenga hata choo. Barabara. County. Nothing.
Maybe imejenga choo but kwa nyumba ya mtu.
No. Kwa nyumba ya mtu. So that is 50 billion that never went through the consolidated account. Dollars. 6.4 trillion shilling.
Yeah.
Ambayo haikupitia
The consolidated account. Yeah.
Now, in those 10 years, niulize, tumelipa ngapi kwa madeni?
Just shock us. By now, shock and awe.
7 trillion.
We've paid back.
Yes, we've paid. Debts are 7 trillion.
Yeah.
In other words, of the 13.3 from our taxes, 7 trillion imeenda kulipa madeni.
Damn.
All right. This last year, ya Ruto, we paid another 1.6. This year, we are paying another 1.85. In other words, 1.9. Last year, this time, deni ilikuwa outstanding 10.5. Sahi ni 11.
Yeah.
And when you look at the percentage, ambao it is taking of our revenue, it is now for every 100 shillings of our tax, 70.
Inalipa taxes. Inalipa loans.
So why do you think you have a life?
Yeah.
And you can project it for the next 60 years. So you have no life, Maria.
Truly.
You can pretend all you want. You're living in a bubble.
Yeah.
As long as you're dealing with this economy, you will sink.
Yeah.
Is there a way to fix it? Short answer.
Was that debt taken lawfully?
Was it taken?
Lawfully.
No.
So why are we paying it?
Because also, if a lot of it is money that we can't, not that we can't account for, we can account for it if we want. Then if it's money that can be recovered, because I'm sure we can trail.
Ndugu yangu, let me tell you, even if we said from today we are not paying it, forget about whether people have stolen it, gotten it. Even if we said from today, hatutalipa hiyo pesa. Okay? That is a saving of 1.9 trillion kwa budget yetu.
What happens if you don't
As
pay?
is current, that's the point. As is currently constituted. And I showed you that we make enough, we don't even need much debt.
Yeah.
Facts.
We don't even need to borrow that money. We can say, let's cut it off development, to reduce our development, and we are borrowing from nobody. We need nobody, by the way.
Facts. I believe that.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, if we remove that 1.9, do you know how life will change here?
In a snap.
Yeah.
As
Basics, truly.
president, I would remove completely VAT. Yes. I'll completely remove VAT. Completely.
From all products, all services?
Yeah. I'll remove VAT. Straight.
So cost of living goes down immediately.
But you don't need it. You can fund education with their current numbers. All right?
Yeah.
Primary education, you have 10 million kids, they need 4,000 a year. Na hata hakuna bursary. Anyone is lining up for. There's no teacher looking for a salary. All right? That's 40B. Go to secondary. Secondary, there are 4 million kids. Wapatie 20,000 shillings. Right? Nobody's paying anything. That's another 80. That's 120. University, the average program, you can say, is 300,000. And the rule of thumb goes like this: 100,000 loan, 100,000 mzazi. All right? Ile ingine government can give. All right? So you take that 100 with 250, it's another 25. 145 billion will fund the entire school system without a parent taking out money until university. A year. The saving 1.9 is a saving of 14 years on 1 year.
Yeah.
Next year, we are paying 2.1 to Denis. The following year, 2.2. By the time we hit 2027, it's 2.6 trillion. I wish you all the best of luck. Unafikiri ati kodi itashuka chini. Ati there is some canon William Ruto atamletea. He's a joker. Yeah, he's just a pretender. He cannot solve this problem.
Yeah.
Kwa sababu to solve it means anafungua hii maneno ya past. Achomeke. Achomeke.
Yeah, okay. Akuza kuinvolve huko pia.
Atapatikana. Atapatikana.
Na marafiki zake pia.
Atapatikana.
How does government lobbying work here? Because Because I'm just thinking from even your previous dealings, right? So how do you get yourself to that position where you can lobby for government?
What do you mean lobby for government?
No, I mean government lobbying.
That's the one and you listen.
No, how does it work? Like genuinely, government lobbying.
What?
So like a private person, right? Who gets into business with government, because government will always need.
I must have
people
some very
to
unique
supply.
skills.
Exactly.
Yeah, very unique skills.
Like what?
Give us
Like
three.
which ones?
Just 3.
Yeah. Because I'm like, government needs people.
Let me give you an example.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. Because now we are talking about big stuff. Hapana hii mambo ya kusupply small things.
Me, I'm talking even military stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that level, yeah.
So let me. I'll give you a part. I don't have any secrets. I'll be very candid with you.
Yes.
This world, you end up meeting a lot of people in the world.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example of the Chinese. Right? In the year 2000, the Chinese decided they are going to now try and get out to the world. Right?
Okay.
Kibiashara. Right? They had attained economic actualization. And they now were very keen on entering Africa. A very good friend of mine, don't ever joke with friendship. A very good friend of mine calls me and tells me he wants to visit Kenya for the first time, Africa for the first time. And he wants to understand the lay of the land, Akaja. And the first thing he said is that they have marked Kenya as a place that they want to bring their blue chip companies and to do business. All right? China is now expanding. I said, shida ya Kenya ni wakati wa Moi. The problem we have is hatuna hela. Right? This big money we don't have. I said, no. We are coming with soft credit to Wachana. This money you're getting from the Brits, which is tied to their funny things. Yeah. But they said, we need to know you have capacity. And for us to enter blue chip and have the trust of the nation, we want to supply the military.
Okay.
All right? With my innovative, especially coming with credit, soft credit, I was able to get hard. All right? And I had to do a lot of ujanja. But I was able to get hard. And I supplied with a Chinese company, it was their first supply into Kenya, what are called the Y-12 transport aircrafts. 12 of them. I know up until today, I think there are about 8 left.
From the 12?
In the year 2000.
Wow. Jimmy.
And I can tell you from that time, they came in. Now, wakati wa Kibaki, we brought them in now to do roads.
Okay. So that's now.
So I got the first grant. Unajua hii grant, this Mombasa road, all the way to Gigiri was a grant of $150 million. Yani no, watch expressway.
The old one.
No, before expressway, that highway used to be very good. Sasa expressway ikaja wameharibu.
Wameharibu chini.
Yeah, wameharibu chini. But I can tell you, from the airport all the way to Gigiri, that was a priority road.
That was a
for
grant?
The Kibaki government. It was a grant, free.
Nice.
No money from the taxpayer. $150 million. Right? But I did it so that I remove the contractors, Chinese, Mzee Moi. Not Chinese, Indians.
Okay, so before that, it was Indians who were building.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? And brought in the Chinese. It's from there that we did Thika Road, Southern Bypass. Okay? Which are very good roads. Am I wrong or right?
No, the bypasses.
Yeah.
No, the bypasses changed life.
It changed life.
And the connection,
So we started what you call the modernization.
Okay.
Right? So I got hired because I had an innovative product. I had a unique product.
And you had the guys with the money on the other side?
They had the money. It was a unique, because I had credit.
Yeah.
Very soft money.
In it of float.
Most of it. But if you look at those loan agreements, at a loan, Thika Road, those, but you will see they are 2% interest rate.
Wow.
They are 22-year loans, grace periods. I even got one for NYS when NYS was trying to come up. That was even written off. Yes, written off. After 1 year of paying, the Chinese said, no, we are writing that off. And they wrote, said, don't pay. And it was a lot of money. So we have been in this because we are innovators. Okay. And we've been lucky to be at the right place at the right time. But they say luck is an extension of ability, ndugu yangu.
And
an extension of
and
ability.
Also preparedness.
Mungu. Yes. That is why.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And I was able to get hard in the right places. Yes.
So a lot of your money came in through this period when Kibaki was in office, because now you were also working with the other guys.
I don't know about money.
infrastructure-wise?
Unajua money, I don't know whether you say it was really because of that.
Yeah.
Or because somebody does the right investments. Yeah. It's and I don't know what is this a lot of money. Let's be clear. What is a lot of money?
You tell us.
You tell us.
I don't know
Again,
what
if
is a
you
lot
read.
of money.
If you read.
Me every day, no, I forget reading. You're propaganda.
Yeah.
I struggle every day, so me I don't know what is a lot of
Now,
money.
if you struggle, what
What would you say?
We struggle every day, hapa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us your struggle for today.
You know.
You already told us.
No, that is our struggle as a country.
Shida yangu is exactly what Maria is saying. Unaona Zakayo hapo. Okay? Everything you have is shrinking because of that man.
Yeah.
If you have something to do hata ukiwa na nyumba, you will sell it for less tomorrow. Truly. If you have a biashara, it is shrinking because of that man being there. So that is my struggle.
Yeah.
Right?
Mimi
And that of very many Kenyans.
Utufunze hiyo umesema karata na ujanja.
Ndio ndio mnataka.
Hapo
Si
kwa
tuchukue
karata.
serikali.
Ndio nataka.
Yeah.
Now ile serikali ambayo tunasema tuchukue si ile ambayo inanunua kila kitu.
Yeah.
We want a government that boosts the private sector, not a government that pretends it's the private sector. Mambo ya tenders, we don't want to hear that nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ukisoma kidogo inaitwa supply side economics, where the drivers are no economy, right, are the people who become Bill Gates, become Hollywood.
The Elon Musks.
Right. In China, that entrepreneurship was called state entrepreneurship. So China Road and Bridge, for example, which is making money out of doing roads here, is a state corporation. Okay? But the people at the top who get these businesses earn huge bonuses for the kind of volume of work that they do. So they earn like private sector, but it's a state
It's a
corporation.
parastatal.
It's a parastatal.
Yeah.
Here we are saying we must boost the private sector to be the driver of our lives. Si serikali. Let serikali deal with military things.
Yeah.
You know, those things. Hizi vitu zingine, why are we building roads?
Yeah.
When you can do it? Why? Why are you not the contractor? Ambao unaleta hao wa Chinese and they work for you if you don't have the expertise, certain engineering expertise. Why? It should be your company,
Yeah.
right? Not the state. Not the state.
Yeah.
And we can create this environment. Lakini with the current old political players, Maria, let me tell you, they don't hear ati wewe umekuwa mgogo. To them, that's wewe ni competition kesho.
yeah.
Ati uko na 1 billion. No. You'll fund his opponent. Yes. Wewe utafund opponent yake. Ama you'll be the opponent. So it's
They step on you before
they want
you
they
begin.
want the current crop of politicians want people needing them. Serikali nisaidie. Okay? That's what they love when you are depending. So they will always crush you.
True.
The new order is about something very different. That we are happy to feel that we have got great Kenyans that have gone beyond our borders with products made from here. You imagine if our ketchup was found in US shelves, made by you,
Yeah.
that you become an international brand.
True.
Okay? You become a conglomerate, a multinational. Why not? That's what we want.
Because it's possible, really.
And it is, but it's a mentality. So I'm a businessman. Ukiwa mtu wa biashara, what you like is kuona watu ambao wako kwa out there wakiwa na hela. Because that is your soko.
Yes.
They have got
Money to
ukuchu,
spend.
money to buy. If I make this glass, they can afford to buy it.
True.
Right? A politician loves when you are depending on them, not you having. And that's the difference. And that's the economic revolution which we are going through now. Na mujue, economic revolution is going to be just as painful as the political one which we went through. Okay? So that's where we are.
Okay.
Umeshika ndugu yangu?
Following.
Okay?
Very much.
I want to hear
Yeah.
you are beyond DSTV.
It's
You are,
It's
you,
It's happening.
correct. Wewe umekuwa a giant
It's happening.
everywhere in Africa.
Yeah.
You are the go-to point.
Yes.
Right? And you have such a huge network, right? Now you imagine even if you do in Sub-Saharan Africa. 1 billion. Soko ya 1 billion. Ndugu yangu. America is only 300 million people.
Yeah.
Europe is 500 million. They don't even match Sub-Saharan Africa. You imagine if that is your soko, what you will do?
It's a big market.
Huh? If we sell our coffee just to that market, forget about Wazungu buying it. Our tea just to that market. But it is so cartelled, okay, tunamalizwa, including by leaders.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would happen tukikata kulipa hiyo deni?
Yeah, by the way.
What can they do? You see,
Sanctions?
You see what happened, but who is sanctioning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, for example, the biggest bulk that is terrible to us are two pockets. Moja, ni what you call Eurobonds syndicated loans. Those are about 16 billion now dollars, 16, 17 billion dollars. We can't find it. So once you say we are not paying, we ask them who they gave it to.
Yeah.
Ililipa nini?
Because I'd say the share of blame.
You don't have it.
Truly.
Yeah.
Those you gave, go and look for them.
Yeah.
The other is domestic debt. Ndugu yangu, you people go and put money in banks. The banks go and take it to serikali at an interest rate. Then the government comes back to you with taxes to pay that interest rate. Okay? And you can, it's madness. Yes. Now your pesa, it is now 5.5 trillion of our debt. And it cannot show you where that money has built a bridge.
Truly.
You can't find it. Okay? And it's our money. Taken away from us. But you cannot borrow today. It's too expensive. Or they look at you at where uko na security gun. Okay? It gave it all to government. And a few fat cats have been eating this thing that has ended up giving interest rates of 3 trillion plus. People have eaten money you cannot imagine. And you keep giving your banks money. Why should we let them show us which law allowed them to put that money in bonds?
Truly.
Because the law is very clear. It goes towards development. Iko wapi? Which toilet did it build? Because it's not in any budget. Which salary did it pay? Tumechoka.
So if you get the big seats, who's the first person you're jailing?
If I get what?
The big seats.
No, the first thing is I'll cut off that thing. Yes. It will not even take me 2 days. From being sworn in, not even take 2 days. 1 day, just to put the instruments into law, because you must gazette this thing. The next day to implement it and publish. Tunakata hiyo deni yote, hiyo. Pap!
Immediately.
Na ile ambao tumelipa, which is not ours, irudishwe. People should now start showing they are going to have problems. That becomes a process in its own as we move on. Those who want to come and fight us, let them come and fight us. And those banks who say now we are going to funga, I'll call them. I'll tell them, no, wherever you gave the money.
Marudisha.
Recall it.
Tell us where it went.
Detail it.
Right? But if you think you're going to funga your banks and deposit us money, and I won't come for you, I'll come for you. You find a way of making provision for this money, which you gave, which you cannot account for. All right?
Yeah.
Those banks must keep running. And they will run, my friend. There's a man called Putin. When he got to power, I'm not drawing the comparison, but just to give you an example. He found a country controlled by oligarchs. The country was divided by 36 families who were controlling mpaka police, mpaka maji, mpaka electricity, mpaka gas, right? Mpaka highways. 36 families. So he called them all to the table. He said, this is not Mother Russia. 36 families here talking nonsense here, thinking they're in control of the country. The man who was in charge of the 36 families, in kama mafia, had even a written speech where in the Kremlin, he told Putin, you're either going to take this or leave it. Who do you think you are? That man, Putin, flew to his oil and gas factory the next day, plant the next day. Arrested him with soldiers, right? He's still inside, right? And nationalized his plant. And that was the breakup of the oligarchs. Don't think we don't have oligarchs here. we have been fixed since the Mzungu came here over 100 years ago. All right? 100
Years ago. Yeah.
And there are many things we are going to tell you about how we have a snake here. Every day you wake up, inamukula. Na ikimukula, it is feeding some fat cats. Right? Here and abroad. And they don't want this to change. That's why they come for me, my friend. It's about power.
Money and power. All right. So I'm told this is all the time we had today.
Huh?
Jimmy. Yeah.
Tumezungumza sana?
Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much for making time. I hope this is the first of many.
Yeah.
And we can, because you're like,
There's so much we still haven't
barely
touched
covered
on,
anything.
really.
You still had questions?
What?
Nyingi.
We've barely covered anything.
Tuko 2017.
So now,
That is true.
Yeah.
Details again.
There's a lot. But first of many, we'll reach out again another time. And then, because the conversations won't end. We still have a lot of issues we have to address.
For sure.
I think for us, our main thing is to make sure that our audience is educated on things that we need to know. And even for us we have a big platform now, we recognize that. And we want to make sure that we also continue with civic education, especially leading up to the elections. I feel we have a big role to play. So we'll definitely have you back for sure. If you agree to come back.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
Okay.
Okay.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Asante sana.
All the best.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
Keep it up.
All right.
Anytime you want us, we'll be here.
Asante sana.
Asante.
All right, episode 222, Jimmy Wanjigi, we are...
Mic check.